19 a game this postseason, the highest figure by any team entering an NBA Finals appearance, a distinction previously held by the 2017 Warriors in the first season with Kevin Durant. You know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. They're the fourth team all-time to enter the NBA Finals on an 11-game winning streak, joining Magic Johnson's Lakers of '89, Shaq and Kobe's Lakers of 2001, and the aforementioned 2017 Warriors. Each of the last two teams went on to grab the Larry O'Brien. And that will close the books on the month of May for New York. They won't play again until the 3rd of June. They're 8-0 in the month, completing just the second perfect month in team history. The '94 title team went 14-0 in March. We'll see you in June. Joined now by Tim Legler with the New York Knicks add Cleveland to the pile of wreckage they left on the side of the road these playoffs. On the road in Atlanta by 51. On the road in Philly by 30. On the road in Cleveland, another closeout by 37. Their level of play is at a level I'm interested in hearing you describe, and also, Tim, and how your perception of them as a championship threat you now view them to be.
Well, Scott, first of all, this is historic, what we're watching, the way that this team is playing, and the numbers all back that up in terms of their efficiency, their balance, their margin of victory. You know, we're in the playoffs, and they haven't lost a game in over a month in the postseason. Really crazy. And I know they got themselves in trouble in that Atlanta series. They turned it around. They haven't lost since. And I started to feel differently about the Knicks team toward the latter part of the regular season. When you started to look at how the East was shaping up, you looked at the New York Knicks, and it came together for them with the balance they had across their starting lineup. And that's what they have found. And, Scott, you talk about these impressive road victories to close out these series. One of the reasons, defense and balance travel. You don't have to get spectacular performances out of any one guy on your team. That's a big deal in the playoffs. And then their defense has now matched their offense. You have this complete team capable of beating you in a variety of ways in the paint, from the three, with their defense, in transition, in the half court. No weaknesses right now. This team's obviously on an incredible roll. And once again, they're going to have a lot of time off as they sit there and wait to see who their opponent will be in the finals.
With respect to Atlanta, Philly, and Cleveland, whoever New York plays next will be a step up in competition. There's no reasonable argument to that. How significant a step up, and how well positioned is New York, given what you've just witnessed, to absorb that challenge, whoever it might be?
No, they're going to see something totally different in the finals. You just alluded to it. You have two teams out west that are two of the best defensive teams in the league. They've got superstars that they built their offenses around. Two of the deepest teams in the league, and you have to have depth to play this Knicks team. So you're talking about a much more formidable challenge. There's no question about that. But I think what the Knicks have done is they've answered the question, can anybody coming out of the East stand up to those two teams? The Knicks have answered that question. Yes, they can, because of the way they're playing and the totality of what they're bringing to the table every night and the different ways that they can attack you and defend you. So, yes, they're up for the task. They're going to be ready. They're going to be rested. But make no mistake, they've got a different opponent to try to take down once they get to that stage.
Tim, thanks for the time. Kendrick Perkins is with us in the building, and about the level of dominance they're showing. Not just winning. I mean, they're putting people to bed early. What are they showing, and is it changing your perception of who they are this postseason?
Well, they're showing me that they're a team that's together, and they have the it factor, Scott. And to all the people out there in the world that's thinking that, hey, the winner out of OKC and the Spurs is going to be one of the teams that's going to win an NBA championship, they're lying, and the truth is nowhere near. Because the Knicks have a legit shot at winning the NBA championship. They're deeper than the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean combined. And when you look at their roster, when you look at their leader in Big Body Brunson, he's growing right in front of our eyes. He's able to get his and make others around him better. Karl Anthony Towns is looking like the best big man outside of Wembanyama in the NBA on both ends of the floor. And you know what the most important thing that the Knicks have?
What's that?
Two-way players.
Yeah.
And OKC showed us last year that you need two-way players in order to win the NBA championship. The Knicks have OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, and Mikal Bridges. So all of those guys are capable of defending at a high level and putting the ball in the basket.
I just asked Kat something I'm going to ask you because you've lived it. when you haven't lived it, and now it's the finals, is it difficult, Perk, to just the outside noise and whatever it is you're feeling? It's got to be difficult to flush it and focus on what you're doing because it's just a game, but it isn't.
Scott, you have to find that balance, and it's almost to the extent of like when Floyd when a guy first time fighting Floyd Mayweather in Vegas, they get caught up in the moment, and Floyd already won the fight before he stepped in the ring. It's the same stage, similar when you step into the NBA Finals. The team that's happy just to be there is the team that's going to go home as a loser. But if you go there, you find that balance beforehand to come in and say, you know what? Okay, we soak it in media day. Let's get in between these lines, and all of a sudden it becomes basketball again, and you stay true to who you are and continue to win the game between the lines, then you'll be fine.
I wouldn't ask Kat this because no disrespect, but he never could be honest. If I say, has your opinion of yourselves changed? Has your belief grown? What's he going to say? Yeah, we didn't think we could before we played Atlanta, but now we do. But I have to think, when you play at this high a level for a month and a half in the playoffs, you have to view yourselves differently. Do you think that that's something that's happening in New York right now?
Absolutely. And what happened is that we saw growth in that Atlanta series. We saw guys find themselves and guess what? Lose themselves in the team. Because now all of a sudden we're watching a Knicks team that's playing agenda-free basketball. They don't give a damn who's getting the shine. We're watching Karl Anthony Towns take that step of being a defender. We're watching Jalen Brunson take a step of playing off the ball, playing on the ball, right? And all of a sudden, Mikal Bridges, who was catching a lot of heat from a lot of New Yorkers, including our friend Stephen A. Smith, all of a sudden he found himself in that moment. And Mike Brown did a hell of a job of sticking with him.
Mike Brown, the Sacramento Fire? That Mike Brown?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just checking.
They can't get right.
That's another story for another day. Maybe Philly was worn out from the Boston series. Maybe Cleveland was worn out from the Detroit series and the first series Orlando played Detroit. Who did they play? Toronto. It feels like 3 years we were in the playoffs. Maybe that was it. Or maybe New York's just playing it at this level right now. As for Cleveland, their series comes to an end, and it comes to an end by getting swept on their home floor. Donovan Mitchell on what happened.
I mean, y'all asked me 1,000 times if we were tired. I can't tell you yes. But, I mean, we did this to ourselves, and that's not an excuse. They're a hungry team. They beat us, swept us. So I don't want to diminish that. But we didn't give ourselves a chance because we didn't have no business. And I told them guys in the locker room, I said, now we know. Like, for a lot of us who've never been here, you can't play with your food. We had an opportunity to close both series and give ourselves some rest. You got to be able to give yourself a chance. And we had an opportunity in game one, and then we blew that. So the two series before, having to go 7, and it's our fault. Like, we did that to ourselves.
It's just an unfortunate situation. You know what I mean? Like, any team coming off a tough two series against two defensive monsters, it would have been challenging. And I don't necessarily, like, maybe the first 3 quarters we played well. I don't even know if the first half in the first game one. I think maybe that third quarter we played well where we actually made shots. And then other than that, I don't necessarily can remember a quarter where we actually made shots, like as a group, which is like, you're not going to win against any team. So it's just that's a little frustrating.
Harden had 2 field goals and 5 turnovers. That's that odd stat about him. Perk, about halfway through the sound, you just put your head in your hands. What do you got for me on Cleveland?
Well, first of all, somebody needs to take their microphones from James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Kenny Atkinson, because that is embarrassing to hear what they're talking about. You know what? In the playoffs, things are going to be hard. In 2008, we went through 2 7-game series. It's about your mentality. It's about, do you have the will to want? It comes from inside, Scott. And listening to those guys, they're making more excuses than a brother going to jail. Kenny Atkinson comment the other day was the most asinine thing that I've heard in this postseason.
About analytics?
About the analytics. We win the analytics. Yeah. What? What are you talking about? Yeah. How about showing some type of leadership? Donovan Mitchell, where's your leadership? And when I watched their lack of effort in the closeout game tonight on their home court, The New York Knicks had 20 offensive rebounds. Scott, you and I were sitting in the back, and I had to ask you, what they got, 25 dunks?
It felt like it.
As well, Jalen Brunson actually looked athletic. How many times did we see him push the ball coast to coast and get all the way to the basket? He got out in transition and got a little dunk. Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
And he's one of my favorite players. But again, when you're looking at your leaders, supposed to be leaders, and Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, if you're banking on those two guys to lead you anywhere, especially into the promised land, especially after hearing those comments,